For 50 years, the smartest engineers on the planet tried to replicate the human hand. Every single one failed until 3 weeks ago. Put on a thick rubber glove. Now try to pick up a raw egg. Hold it firmly enough so it doesn't fall, but gently enough so you don't crack the shell. 10 seconds in, you'll understand why this single problem consumed the entire robotics industry for half a century. The human hand has 27 degrees of freedom, the product of 40 million years of no robot in history had ever crossed 80% of that capability until Optimus Gen 3. And that's not even the most interesting part of this story. Inside Tesla's Fremont factory, something remarkable has quietly happened. The Model S and Model X production lines, inseparable from Tesla's identity for over a decade, are gone. In their place, across tens of thousands of square meters of factory floor, more than 1,000 humanoid robots are working right now, every hour, without interruption. This is not a demo video, not a showcase for investors. This is real work in a real factory under real production pressure. But what makes Gen 3 worth stopping for today isn't the number of robots. It's what's happening at their fingertips. Gen 1 launched in 2022 with 11 degrees of freedom. The world applauded. Industry insiders knew that was just the first step of a very long journey. Gen 2 in 2023 kept the same 11 degrees. It could hold a raw egg without cracking it. It could even dance. And Elon Musk stood on that stage, knowing something he hadn't said publicly yet. Gen 2 was nearly impossible to mass produce. A robot that looks beautiful on stage is not the same as a robot you can manufacture by the millions. The gap between those two things is far larger than most people think. That's exactly why Gen 3 exists. 22 degrees of freedom, doubled in less than 3 years. For the first time in the history of robotics, a robot hand has crossed the 80% threshold of human capability. But the number isn't the most impressive part. The most impressive part is that Gen 3 can feel what it's holding. 4 sensors embedded at every fingertip feed data to the control system in real time, telling the robot what material it's touching, how much pressure it's applying, and how to adjust within milliseconds. Previously, robots gripped objects using pre-calculated logic. If the object was slightly wetter, lighter, or more slippery than expected, it would drop it or crush it. No way to know. Gen 3 detects a slipping object and adjusts its grip before it falls. This is exactly how the human hand works. And this is the first time a commercial robot has done the same. Default text. All 25 actuators of each Gen 3 hand sit entirely in the forearm. Not a single motor is inside the palm or fingers. The fingers are pulled by artificial tendons, ultra-durable cables running from forearm to each individual joint. The result, a lighter hand, faster response, better heat dissipation, and a design built from the ground up to manufacture 1 million units per year. Because when you're thinking at that scale, every component you eliminate removes millions of potential failure points from the production line. Tesla isn't the only company in this race. So, where does Gen 3 actually stand? Figure AI, valued at $39 billion with Microsoft's backing, has roughly 16 degrees of freedom per hand. Currently testing at a BMW factory. No force sensor data released. Price unknown. Boston Dynamics, Atlas, the oldest name in the industry, falls significantly short of Gen 3 on dexterity and costs over $250,000 per unit. China's Unitree is selling humanoid robots for $6,000 to $13,000. $3 to 5 times cheaper than Tesla, but with fewer degrees of freedom, no comparable force sensing, and no proven track record in continuous industrial environments. Tesla is currently operating in a space where no competitor can match it on both criteria at once. Dexterous enough to do real work and affordable enough to deploy at scale. But there's one advantage that money simply cannot buy. Tesla owns the factory where their robots are working. 1,000 robots operating in a real environment generate the largest real-world robotics training datasets in history. Every grip, every slip, every sensor signal fed directly into the AI. That data gap will not narrow over time. It will widen. But it would not be honest to only tell you the bright side. Between 50% and 63% of Optimus Gen 3's components are currently manufactured in China. Thermal systems, actuator, components, fingertip sensor array. If Tesla moved its entire supply chain to the United States, the cost per robot would jump from roughly $46,000 to $131,000. The $20,000 to $30,000 price target Elon Musk has promised for 2027 would disappear entirely. And in 2025, China imposed export controls on rare earth materials, materials essential to Optimus. Tesla was forced to apply for special import licenses. That issue remains unresolved today. Tesla is competing against China in humanoid robotics while depending on China to build those robots. That is a structural contradiction Musk has acknowledged publicly, with no clear solution yet on the table. A hand that can hold an egg without cracking it can cook. A hand that senses applied force in real time can help an elderly person get dressed, hold a glass of water, assist someone who can no longer manage on their own. For patients with Parkinson's disease or spinal cord injuries, Gen 3's fingertip sensors are 4 times more sensitive than standard industrial robots. For the first time, an assistive device could genuinely respond the way a human hand does, not just execute pre-programmed motions at $20,000 to $30,000. Comparable to a mid-range electric vehicle, the definition of a household appliance gets completely rewritten. Not a smarter vacuum, not a better washing machine, a single device that replaces all of them and does things none of them can. The robot hand just crossed 80% of human capability. Gen 1 was 11. Gen 3 is ke-22 in less than 3 years. So, here's the only question that matters right now. What happens when it reaches 100? Drop your answer in the comments. And if this story deserved your time, subscribe, because this journey is only getting started.